Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and the patch notes have dropped today for the latest balance patch. It is expected to go live. We know the changes to Reno and the other two cards, Ziliax, Projectionist. We'll go over all of that. There's updates to twist decks and apparently their hero powers, passives, as well as a ton of Battlegrounds changes and some bug fixes. Did they murder Reno? Well, we'll take a look in 1 second, and we still have our giveaway going on for Perils of Paradise. We're giving away 2 regular pre-orders, 1 mega bundle out of my pocket. To enter that giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down in the description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel for every 1,000 subs we get until all the cards are revealed. I will add another mega bundle, so hit that sub button, make me go broke. So Blizzard, kind enough to let me have the patch notes a little bit early, so that's why you'll note the draft is there. I will have them linked down below if you want to take a look at full details. But patch 29.6.2 launches today, so it'll be today. I believe I'm uploading this around 9:15 a.m. Pacific. It should be like 45 minutes, or sorry, yeah, 45 minutes after that. It should be live around 10 a.m. Pacific. Sometimes it's a little bit later. But again, it'll be live later today with all of these changes. And we have a dev comment with this is a smaller patch designed to prepare for the launch of Perils in Paradise by weakening a few cards that are warping the meta in a way that could stifle new expansion development. As a note, we want to let that early post-expansion meta develop a bit before we step in. So our next major balance pass or patch, whatever they want to call it, is scheduled for slightly later than the last few, about 2 weeks after expansion launch instead of about 10 days. So what, 4 extra days? I guess it's something to let the meta settle a bit more. Hopefully there's not some catastrophe that they need to like hotfix and nerf something right away. I imagine they could still do that, but at least it's nice to have that communication out there. And yes, Reno is changing, but it is a lot more minor than I was thinking it would be. I'm kind of relieved. It's going to 10 mana. The text on the card will remain the exact same, but the best board clear in Hearthstone history by a mile, right? Not only does it clear everything only to your opponent's side, but it restricts that board space, will continue to do that. As I mentioned in the Nerf teaser video, Reno decks are not thriving right now, they're just popular. I expect that honestly to stay true. Change, Reno decks will get a little bit worse, and if you've noticed a lot of the cards so far from this set, it's looking like a very aggressive pirate metagame where a 10 mana Reno is likely going to be pretty slow, and a 9 mana one would be slow. So I tweeted out, it's rough being a control player these days. The late game tools get nerfed pretty hard, and early game stuff gets to basically stay intact outside of one strategy we'll go over. But yeah, I imagine a lot of people will still be mad about this, that it doesn't change the text on the card, which again, I understand is frustrating with the card, but at least it is 10 mana. The most you can actually make this card. I guess you could make it 11 and make people run audio amplifier or coin it out, but still, I think that's as reasonable a change as you could hope for. And yeah, it continues to be that frustrating, that meta warping and polarizing and all that. I guess they could change the text on it in a future patch, but we'll see how it plays out. Next, we have the Zilliax Virus module. As expected, it will be going up 1 mana. It's not losing a health, it's not losing a keyword. It will go up 1 mana, making it a bit more expensive to play. Currently, right now, you typically play an 8 mana version, which was then countered by a Yogg or a Reno. Now you're playing a 9 mana version, which is also still countered by a Yogg or a Reno. So we'll see if it changes a ton. But again, 1 mana, we know in Hearthstone, can be significant, although Bran went from 6 to 8. It is still very prevalent, although not meta like defining and super powerful. It's still a competitive deck that pisses a lot of people off. So again, not a huge change, but a mana change that slows it down just a touch and lets those aggressive decks smork through the lifesteal 1 turn more, right, before it comes down, which again can be super relevant. And the Celestial Projectionist does not get the not less than 1 treatment because they just don't almost ever do that. However, it will go up to 3 mana and get a stat increase as a result, but it will not be premium statted anymore. It was a 2-mana 3/2, so premium stats. It is now a 3/3. Doesn't get the 4/3 or spider tank treatment, so you can't shadow step it and replay it for 0, which is a very big deal for that like gaslight rogue that plays all those giants, and that's a pretty nice change. And it also, for Pain Warlock, a little bit more expensive to play a 0-mana Molten Giant or Imprisoned Horror, and Zarimi Priest. Again, there's like 3 major decks that all play it, all kind of do the same thing with it, and leads to pretty frustrating experiences that are really hard to answer early. So now they can do it instead on like turns 4, they can do it on turn 5, and then 5 turns later, you can clear it with Reno, right? So I'm happy with the changes. Obviously, I'm biased and feel like Reno shouldn't have been changed, but I know there is a huge subset of players that absolutely disagree with me. And guess what? Hearthstone's not just for me. It's not just for you. It's for everybody. And I can understand why they made these changes, even if I don't love the Reno one personally. But again, I get it. Next, we have the twist updates here with the dev comment. The overall goal of these changes is to move more heroes towards the 35 health range. This means that generally speaking, heroes that had less than 35 health before this patch have their decks adjusted to be weaker, while heroes that have more than 35 health before this patch have their decks and sometimes effects adjusted to be stronger. After these changes, we'll continue using health as our regular tuning knob. So I don't know if they're planning on doing any more balance changes, if they're going to change the decks or passes or hero powers going forward. They can, right, in that next balance patch that they alluded to. But by then, we're basically, actually, no, the twist will be dead by then, right? It'll be gone. So this is probably the last like actual balance change. Everything after this will probably just be health oriented. So Cthulhu obviously needed a buff. He was at 80 health, which is ridiculous. They made it so that after 3 friendly minions die, you give your Cthulhu +2/+2 over the 2 friendly minions get +1/+1, so you can buff them a bit faster. But not amazing considering like he has no AoE, he has no clears. But again, changing the decks on a lot of these heroes, including Cthulhu, so we'll see what happens there, right? Boom's Barrage, the Dr. Boom passive, has been updated that now after a friendly mech dies, you shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck and you gain 1 armor. So you get a little bit even more health on top of shuffling those bombs. So a little bit more of like sustainability, a little bit more being able to stay alive. We have the Feral Frenzy, the Guff hero power, which has now been updated to get +1 attack this turn and can be used 3 times in a turn rather than twice. So you can push even more damage as long as you have the mana to do that. So that can be pretty solid. And then they updated the hero health totals for a bunch of heroes. Alakir will be at 35, Kel'Thas 35, Nas, basically all these heroes are going to 35. I don't need to read it, other than Arthas is going to 30, because they still feel he's going to be pretty cracked, right? Because the following heroes have had their decks adjusted, including Arthas. Almost every hero is having their deck adjusted. The dev comment even notes that's everyone except for Arch-Villain Rafam, Zarella, and Patches the Pirate. And you'll be able to see the new deck list will be viewable from the hero selection screen in-game after the patch is live. So if you want to see what the decks look like, log in after the patch is live, take a look, and you could see if maybe you could win with some other heroes. And then we have all the Battlegrounds changes. There's a ton of them. We're not going to go over them again. The patch notes are linked down below if you want to take a look, but we will leave off with, I believe there's some bug fixes down at the bottom here. Most are BGs related, but we have one for standard where they fixed a bug where the Metamorphosis Illidan portrait had issues if you transformed after getting certain health modifiers like Prince Renethal. Thankfully, the whales like me can have our Illidan act properly, although that portrait is actually sick. It's not worth that much money ever, but it's a really cool one. So there you go. Again, I'm pretty content with the patch. I would have loved to see like Handbuff Paladin get nerfed in particular. I think Patriots Virtue is absolutely silly, but other than that, let's just see what the new expansion brings, what it breaks with the game, and then we could talk about balancing and all that stuff after that point. Anyways, more reviews coming later, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.